Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with tahini sauce. That's right, I'm going to show you how to make your own tahini sauce and also how not to make your own tahini sauce. And what I mean by that is I made a small but huge mistake adding one of the ingredients. And because of that, you're all going to get a stern talking to so you don't make the same mistake. And by the way, while I'm confessing things, I will admit I'm not showing you this sauce because it's delicious, easy, and incredibly versatile. I'm really using this sauce to tease our next video, which is going to be for... Actually, you know what? I don't want to spoil the ending. So let's just hang on. We'll get to that later. So first up, to make a tahini sauce, you need some tahini, which is nothing more than a ground sesame seed paste. And if we're being honest, on its own, it's not the most delicious stuff in the world. In fact, remember when you were a kid and your mom brought home that sugar-free peanut butter to try, but didn't tell you, and you bit into your peanut butter toast and you were like, what the hell is this? That's kind of what this stuff tastes like, which is why it really needs the ingredients you're going to see us add here so we can turn it into something significantly more appetizing. So what we'll do is we'll toss them in a bowl, to which we're going to add a little bit of garlic. And here's where I totally screwed up. This really only needs like a clove of garlic, but for whatever reason, I was in the mood for a lot of garlic, so I added extra. Way too much extra. And basically turned my tahini sauce into a garlic sauce. So the moral to this very quick story is, if you're going to significantly increase the amount of an ingredient in a recipe, you have to do it incrementally. You don't just dump in a massive extra amount and hope it's right. So that was a total rookie mistake. But anyway, enough about that for now. I also added a little bit of olive oil. This is technically optional. A lot of people don't add it, but I do like the richness it adds. And also, of course, a little bit of flavor. We're also going to want a pinch of salt, to taste, of course. And then probably the most important ingredient besides the sesame seed paste, a good amount of fresh lemon juice. So we'll pour that in, and we'll stir this up. And what's going to happen, it's going to seem kind of loose, but as you stir, it kind of seizes up, tightens up, thickens up, and you're going to end up with something that looks like this, which is way too thick. But that's fine because the last step of tahini sauce is slowly adding in some warm water, a little splash at a time, until you have the perfect texture. And what's the perfect texture? You decide. You are the Houdini of your tahini. And I don't mean the magician. I mean the group from Brooklyn that wrote Freaks Come Out at Night. So that's totally going to be up to you. All right, some people like it thick, some people like it super, super thin, almost watery. But anyway, like I said, we're going to stir in splashes of warm water until we have what we think is the perfect consistency. Personally, I shoot for something similar to a thin salad dressing. And at that point, we're done, except for, of course, the obligatory taste and adjust. So you want to taste this for salt, acidity, you may want more lemon juice. This is one of those recipes where if it doesn't come out tasting like you want, it's totally your fault. Which makes it just like, what's that recipe I'm trying to think of? Oh yeah, every single recipe we've ever done. And by the way, it was right about here when I realized I had put way too much garlic in. I mean, as I'm stirring it, I'm realizing this is like 20% raw garlic. All right, you can always add, but you can't take it out. I'd like to say I did that on purpose to teach you a lesson, but I didn't. But anyway, not that big of a deal. While it wasn't a great tahini sauce, it was a pretty good garlic sauce. And at this point, it would be ready to serve, but I do suggest wrapping it up and putting it away for a few hours. That's going to give the flavors time to develop. And also, when you pull it out to serve it, you'll be able to taste it and adjust it much more accurately. All right, sometimes if we taste things too many times while we're making it, we get palate fatigue, and you just don't accurately sense the different flavors and seasonings. But regardless, whether you let it rest or not, once this is tasting how we want it, we can go ahead and serve it up. And I decided to garnish mine with some sumac and chopped parsley. And in addition to being one of the few purple spices, sumac provides a kind of tart lemony flavor, which is very nice. And I probably should mention at this point, some varieties of sumac are poisonous. So you'll want to buy this from a reputable spice dealer, as opposed to that tree in the backyard. But anyway, a little sumac, a little parsley, and our tahini sauce is done and ready to enjoy. And notwithstanding the way too much garlic, it really was good. Just a beautiful all-purpose condiment for so many things. This is pretty much the ketchup of the Middle East. And if I know YouTube like I think I know YouTube, I'm sure that statement's not going to offend anybody. And while it is pretty good just on a spoon, where this stuff really shines is paired with food. Like falafel. As I mentioned earlier, this sauce was just an excuse to tease the next video, which is going to be homemade falafel. So you are definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, as long as you promise to be careful with the garlic, I really hope you give this delicious tahini sauce a try soon. So head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.